The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Politics, and this week I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville, and then you can hear it again, a totally different show, from 10 until 11 on Talk 995 in Birmingham, News Radio 1440 in Montgomery, and on the UMP in Huntsville from 3 until 4. So there's a lot of Dale Jackson out there for you. With us, as always, Mecca Music. She is the CEO of 256today.com, and we'll be talking with her throughout the program. Joining us a little bit later will be Scott Buttram. He is the publisher of the Trussville Tribune. But for right now, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. All right, Mecca, this is pretty amazing stuff here, and it's kind of surprising. Let's just be honest about it. I thought towards the end of last week that Donald Trump was coming on at just the right time, and he would eke this thing out. Now, depending on where you're looking, he's up to as high as 312 electoral college votes, but we have seen Kamala Harris concede, Tim Walz cry like a baby, Doug Emhoff cry like a baby, and Joe Biden give the most lucid speech of his entire presidency, where he looked almost gleeful because Donald Trump won the presidency. Now, Donald Trump won the presidency. The Republicans won the Senate, and it appears Republicans are going to hold the House. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But here's my question to you, Mecca. Is this where they get him? And I jokingly mentioned that because we've been saying that for the last 4 years, that they were just...
You've been saying this for the past 4 years. It's Dale's joke that he repeats often.
Correct. So is this where they get him?
No. Do you even want an answer for your joke? Talking about the election, though, you were completely on point. Everything you said, maybe a few embellishments on crying like a baby and whatnot. But this was an amazing election. A lot of turnout, a lot of excitement. I think you and a lot of Americans should be very happy. As you said, there are some people who are upset, but I think the election went off well. If you're a fan of people voting and coming out, then you should be happy.
Well, we might be down as much as 11 million or more votes from 2020, and mostly because we did away with a lot of the universal mail-in ballots and all of the ballot harvesting. There were some rules. I've been saying for a long time here that they cleaned up the voting system from 2020 till now. And I'm not saying that's the issue here, but I think it played a role in this. I think the real issue is people just said, I don't like what's happening right now. I want to go back to the first 2 years of the Trump administration. The COVID stuff, yes, we saw that, but they wanted to go back and say enough of that. It's a big win. Trump, the guy wins, and the next day they're like, all right, we're not going to try you in any of these cases anymore. So it was lawfare, playing games and stuff. So no, this is not where they get them. Let's move on and talk about the next thing. Representative Shamari Figures. Yes, U.S. Representative Shamari Figures. I guess we would say U.S. Representative-elect Shamari Figures at this point in time. It wasn't even close. AL-02, I thought it would be a little bit closer. We're talking about 8, 12 points, depending on where the counting is when this eventually gets seen. But I will tell you, I thought it would be a lot closer. I thought she had a chance to pull it out on Election Day. There was huge turnout in really red areas. But this district was drawn for a black Democrat. And lo and behold, after the courts do that, a black Democrat wins the seat. Now we have 2 Democrat members of Congress from the state of Alabama. So that's one pickup for him. But what was this race really about? Why was it not even close?
Well, is it close? The whole purpose of this district being drawn was to elect a black Democrat. And so I think it was closer. I don't know if I completely agree with you that it wasn't close. It was a very well-run race on both sides. He did get a job of getting big-name Democrats in the final days, surrogates to speak on behalf of him. They both ran really great campaigns. And the numbers, it's not unexpected, if you will. And I think we talked about this before. We're going to continue to talk about it. Thompson definitely has a future in politics moving forward.
Well, yeah, we saw polls that showed it being about 12 points. I mean, we saw that at the beginning, and then it got closer, obviously. But Kamala Harris getting in the race, I think, actually helped Shamari figures because obviously you had another African American on the ballot, and that kind of could turn out there. But I mean, look, this race, if the district stays the same it is for the next five election cycles, he's going to be the guy. It's not going to be competitive. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to redraw the districts in 2026. We're going to have a completely different race. I think that's what's going to happen here. Barry Moore might have to take on another member of Congress again. And
I was going to ask you about that. Do you believe that the district will stand, or that it will be moved around some more? Because that is still in play. That there's still challenges from the other sides as well.
The court never even actually ruled on this case. They just said, "Oh, the Democrats are most likely to win this, so we'll just redraw the district anyway." That is not representative democracy. That's judicial tyranny. And I'm just telling you, that race, like every other race in the state now, is a safe seat for who holds it. So that's just the way it is. They changed the entire breakdown of the delegation by judicial fiat. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's move on. Let's talk about polls. There was the argument, and we had Jeff Poor on last week. We've talked with a bunch of people, or maybe over the last couple of weeks, from FM Talk 106.5 and 1819 News. We talked to him. He said, look, they're bad at polling Trump supporters. And I asked him, I said, isn't it possible they fixed this over the last 8 years? And he said, no. And the answer is no. All the polling errors went in Trump's direction, and he won every swing state. Every single swing state, he won. And that includes Georgia and North Carolina, which I don't really think are swing states, but he won them. He broke down the blue wall. It's not a blue wall, it's a red wall. Now I think we have a red wall on the border by the time this is all said and done. But the polls were wrong, and every single one of them that got it wrong was in Trump's favor. So why don't we just stop using polls? Maybe that's not the right question.
All right, I have two sides to this for you, Dale.
Sure.
So most of all the results and the results of the election still fall within the errors of margin of the polls.
Sure.
I know that's not as popular as saying like, oh, they said this because they said this. Well, if you're within 4 or 5, points, the error of margin, then that's a tie, and it can go either way, and then you're still within the error of margin. Does that make sense?
No.
So that's kind of where.
But they all went the same way. I mean, let's just be real about it. Every single one.
No. I think Atlas, Daily Mail, they both had polls that showed Trump with the advantage. Maybe not to this extent, but probably within their margins. I'll have to go back and check.
Well, let me just put it this way. Let me just say this. All the averages, like the Real Clear Politics and 538 and all these other things, they all had Kamala Harris ahead, yet they all projected Donald Trump to win the swing states. I mean, just think about that for a second. So, I mean, the people who accumulate all the polls, even they were baking in a polling error. So, I mean, we could say margin of error and all this other stuff. I agree with that. I don't think you're that far off on that argument. But when it's wrong the same way almost every single time, 3 elections in a row, there might be a problem here with the polling process. And I think that's true.
And those are legitimate concerns that have been brought up. Maybe outdated methods. The people who are more likely to do more of the traditional, you answer a phone call, you answer survey questions and stuff, are not Trump voters. Those aren't the people who generally want to take those surveys. I think they have shown that they're more liberal, Democratic leaning, so that could explain some of it. But really, talking about the results, I mean, Trump made such significant gains. Exit polls showed he won 1 in 3 of non-white votes. I forgot what it is, but it's got to be. It's the best for a Republican in decades. I think is what I read. It was wild.
Yeah, and look, I'll tell you how much I trusted the polls. The poll said that Trump was going to lose. I put $5,000 on Polymarket at the last minute to bet on it. My wife told me not to. I told her I wouldn't, and then I did. So that's how much I don't tell.
But that was more accurate. That was more accurate than the polls.
Putting your money where your mouth is, right? Drinks are on me next
Right.
time. All right, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about total ultimate control. Republicans ran an election based on if the Democrats win the Senate, this was a part of it, they will take total control. They will do away with the filibuster. They'll pack the Supreme Court. And they said, no, we got to keep those guardrails. What about our norms? Like, that was the thing that was said. But Republicans got all three now. So I've changed my mind on this. Maybe we should pack the Supreme Court. Maybe we should do away with the filibuster. Ultimate total control. Should Republicans wield that, or do they say, we're going to go the other way and hope that Democrats do this next time?
They're going to do like they did the previous 2 years that Trump was elected, but I think there's going to be more of a sense of urgency to get things done. You've heard the House Speaker, the 100-day program. I think they're going to come out very strong and try to get a lot of things done. The Trump tax cuts permanence, other taxes he had talked about, immigration reform, rolling back the regulatory state. I think you're going to see a lot of action on that very quickly on the front end. And then you've got 2 years to work it all out.
Okay, I'm telling you this right now. If Democrats kill like immigration and stuff like that and immigration reform, I think Republicans might kill the filibuster. I think they will. If they come in and they stop them from doing stuff, Republicans will be like, forget it. You guys are going to do it anyway, so we might as well do it. And then pack the Supreme Court with 150 judges, then undo the filibuster. I mean, then put it back on. I mean, just do what you got to do. It may happen, because that's what they suggest they were going to do with Supreme Court justices. They said, Democrats said, if we win, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to remove it for Supreme Court justices, and we're going to pack the Supreme Court. Republicans might go down that path. I'm not kidding. I think it's a possibility that we see some sort of that conversation about that. The traditionalists will say
that. I think it's going to be a lot like the previous Trump election with the first 2 years, but I think they're going to move faster.
They tried to put the guy in jail. They've tried to kill him. They've impeached him. This is a different animal with a mandate. I'm just telling you. I think there might be other things that happen. I'm open to hearing it. Coming back in just a little bit, Scott Buttram will be with us from the Trussville Tribune. We'll talk with him. We'll have a conversation with him about a bunch of things. So stay tuned. It's Alabama Politics This Week.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, deterioration, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. With us, as always, Mecca Music. And our guest this week, Scott Buttram. He is the publisher of the Trussville Tribune. And we've got a lot to talk about with him, both inside the state of Alabama and beyond. Scott, I want to start with what we were talking about at the end of the last segment. I was talking about ultimate total control, doing away with the filibuster, packing the Supreme Court, putting Democrats in jail. Forget about that last part. But packing the Supreme Court, ending the filibuster. Scott, Republicans ran against this, and you're already hearing some rumblings about doing it. I don't think it's going to be a big thing, but if Democrats sit back and obstruct, Republicans will have the power to do some of that, will they?
Yeah, well, the Democrats were pretty hot on that idea when they were very confident they were going to win the election. I really don't think they should do that. I think the norms are important to keep the legislature moving the way it's supposed to. And also, the filibuster allows all voices to be heard. However, that said, if they don't go in on Inauguration Day and at least hang that over the Democrats for a week or two, they're just blowing a great opportunity to throw it back in their face.
Before we jump to,
I really appreciate it.
Go ahead, Mecca.
Thank you, Dale. Scott, I really appreciated your take on voters and what they're thinking and what they're taking. Give me your thoughts about this election, and were you surprised by the victory and the large number of votes that Trump received?
I was not surprised. Going back to the conversation that I had with Mecca and Dale with you guys, just probably a month ago regarding the sales tax. The property tax that didn't pass in Trussville. I said then there may be something at play here. Trussville's sales tax collections were flat for the first time in a decade. We were hearing from several of our other cities in the Tribune coverage area. They were seeing the same thing. We know that grocery stores are the biggest driver of sales tax, and they were seeing a flat sales tax return. So that was a concern. You knew this was hitting families in the grocery store and at the gas tank. Those are two places you have to go and deal with every single week, sometimes more often than every week. But that was hitting families in the face for 4 years. When we started seeing the effect it was having on sales tax collections in cities like Trussville, and realizing this is probably duplicating itself across Alabama and across the country, that's when I started to believe, this is probably a more simple election than people are giving it credit for. There are a lot of issues that were discussed, a lot of issues on the table. But when families are struggling to put food on the table and gas in the tank, you can't run and hide from that. That is going to affect their psyche, and they're getting punched in the face every single week. I really was pretty comfortable that there was going to be a change.
Let's talk a little bit about the state of Alabama here for a second. Amendment 1 was on every ballot, unless you were in Pell City. Apparently there were some problems there. But Amendment 1 was on the ballot.
Three of our cities, Dale, did not have it on the ballot.
Okay, so there were three that didn't have it. It was a statewide amendment. It was kind of silly. It was Franklin County Schools wanted to take a piece of property that was in Franklin and Walker County, and they wanted to be able to basically put a Buc-ee's there. I was calling it the Buc-ee's Amendment, and that's basically what it was. I think we should mandate a Buc-ee in every county, but we can have that conversation later. But they wanted to do that. I don't see any problem with it. A lot of people had a problem with the whole conservation side of it, like you're giving up some timberland. On the other side, you had an argument for why is this on my ballot? I'm just voting no. But it passed overwhelmingly. Is there any rhyme or reason for how people vote on amendments? Because if you put the word tax in it, it's going to fail, I think, mostly. But if it's usually other stuff, people are like, yeah, whatever, who cares?
Well, I could give you an example that hits close to home. When we first started the Trussville City School System, this would have been about 2006, 2007. We wanted to pass a property tax to support our new city school system. It passed overwhelmingly on every ballot in Trussville. I mean, it was just a landslide win. But because of our 1901 state constitution, it also had to be on the statewide ballot. It lost statewide by 1 million votes. People who were not going to pay one way or the other overwhelmingly voted no. Trussville, you could not fund your school. So we had to wait a few years and do it again to get it on a local ballot. But it's just one of those bizarre things in our state that you have when you've got an antiquated state constitution and nobody has the backbone to fix it. Every time somebody tries to fix it in Montgomery, immediately the other side starts claiming there's ulterior motives. Even when the Republicans tried to remove the racist language, the Democrats objected to that after trying to remove the racist language when they were in charge. And I don't think it's unique to Alabama, y'all. I think every state deals with this kind of silliness.
Well, wait, Del. I thought it was the polite thing to do if it wasn't your county or your issue. Just because of the way it is set up in Alabama, where a lot of times the whole state will vote if you can fund your school, you're supposed to ignore it. I thought that was the polite thing to do. Right. Is that not correct?
Well, that's always what I was raised to call it.
I think you're right. You're asking me, so I says the polite thing to do is that. But you know what? At the same time, I feel like I go all over the place on this. One year I'm like, I vote no on everything. The next year I'm like, I don't care. I'm voting yes on everything. And so it's just. I think most people aren't paying attention to it at all. And I'm shocked that people even knew that it wasn't on their ballot. And then there were people like, well, I'm going to stay to vote on this. And I'm like, why? Why are you staying at the polling place to vote on? Just vote on the other stuff and move on. Scott, what do you think about that?
Well, in St. Clair County, I'm reasonably sure it was actually one of the poll workers that caught the fact that there was a bunch of ballots with blank backs on them. They may have been looking a little more over in St. Clair County because of a Pell City amendment that was also going to be there, and it didn't apply to the entire county. So that may have led to it. But my question is this, and I haven't been able to find anyone that has told me there's something that would stop this from happening. When you get the ballots from the printer, wouldn't the first thing you do is open them up and check them and make sure it's exactly what you proofed and exactly what you expected?
Yeah, you would think so. I would take them out and start filling them out. I mean, that's what I would do. But I mean, it is what it is.
If you're in the black belt in Alabama, that's what happened.
Yeah, you get away with that kind of stuff. Let's talk about that for a second. AL-02, we only got about a minute and a half left here, but let's talk about that. I thought it would be closer than it was. I consider this a blowout. Shamari Figures is there until they redraw the district, which could happen immediately. Or he is there until the next census and they redraw the districts and we go through the whole court thing all over again. Why was it as big of a blowout as you thought, or as I think it is?
Are you talking about the national
no, I'm
election, the presidential election?
I'm talking about Shamari Figures and Caroline Dobson. Why was that such a blowout?
I don't know. I thought Caroline was a good candidate. I did not think the Democrats would be as motivated to show up and vote on Tuesday as they were in District 2. So I don't know. Republican voters can be lazy, and that may be a district that has some lazy ones.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's drawn for a black Democrat, and it got a black Democrat. The end result is what the court straight up said. We're drawing it for this specific reason, and so we have it, and that's exactly what they did. The court case isn't even decided yet, and they've redrawn the district, and I think it just creates a whole bunch of messes and problems. I thought this would have an impact on the overall congressional count, but looks like Republicans squeezed that one out. Last question. You've been covering politics for a very long time. Money. The Democrats raised $1 billion. Kamala Harris's campaign is $20 million in debt, allegedly. They outraised Donald Trump by more than, I think, 50%. Are we to now believe that money's not that big of a deal, or is this just everything is a Donald Trump abnormality?
I can't explain Democrats and money, but massive amounts tend to disappear a lot when they're involved. $1 billion And I read this morning that one of the staffers, campaign staffers for Harris, said a lot of that money was spent on these concerts that she threw in the last week. So it looks like they threw $1 billion party, invited all of the best entertainment, which, by the way, the best ones didn't even sing. So I want that deal. They could book me for a concert. I won't sing either for $1 million. But it's pretty bizarre to see what's happened. At the same time, could they have made worse choices on where to put that money? I mean, they never had a chance in this race, y'all.
I don't understand it one bit. If you go watch Bruce Springsteen perform, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. I love Bruce Springsteen. I thought about doing the most un-American thing ever, and that's going to Canada to see Bruce Springsteen, because I love Bruce Springsteen that much. And he embarrassed himself at that rally, playing a acoustic version of Born to Run. I'm like, what is this nonsense? But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
As a boomer, it hit hard, man. It was really bad.
Scott Buttram, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Trustville Tribune. Always appreciate having him on the program. Mecca Music is gone, which means the show gets so much better on the other side. Stay tuned. It's Alabama Politics This Week.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. My friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Take 5 minutes of your time right now. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson, and as we wrap up the show this week, I've got a parting shot for you about churches and how everyone wants to take away everyone else's tax-exempt status and why that's a bad idea. But before I get into that, let me remind you, head on over to yellowhammernews.com. Sign up for the 7 things you should be talking about today, because doing that gives you access to every single thing I do at yellowhammernews.com, including an email blast that goes out every single morning, Monday through Friday, that will tell you those 7 things you should be talking about today. But right now, let's go ahead and get to the parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at all the people clamoring for the New Era Baptist Church in Birmingham to lose their tax-exempt status. Now, there's a lot of talk about this, and the only reason it's happening is because the people talking about it don't like the message being put out. Now, if that sounds familiar, there's a reason for that. For years, you have heard about conservative churches where they're allegedly preaching from the pulpit or speaking a political message, and the people outside of that church demand that their tax-exempt status go away. Now, this is a terrible idea all the way around. The New Era Baptist Church, their signs that they had up before the election are insane. talking about how black people who vote for Trump are ignorant Negroes, talking about how a vote for Trump is to put black people back in the cotton fields and all those other ridiculous things that are being said. But if you take away their tax exempt status, yours is coming next. That's the important thing people need to understand. When you clamor for the government to be your cudgel, then eventually someone else is going to pick that cudgel up and use it against you, and you're going to regret that you ever called for it in the first place. Same thing here. Let the New Era Baptist Church in Birmingham be regulated by its members, and if they like what's being said, then let them continue going to that church. It is not up to you to try to